Good morning, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
You've been, over the last couple of days, you've been on your own 3-day quiet retreat.
Yeah.
And one can say, well, we've touched on the issue of retreats, a quiet retreat. I've been on my retreat and we've discussed it, what came out of that. So we had a session. But what's interesting is that each and every one of us going on retreat has a certain experience. The general elements are there, but there's specific experiences, and also in different phases of one's life and in your general program. So in general, bird's eye view, your experience over these past days.
Yeah, I think for me it was extremely necessary to go away for these couple of days and to I think in the first instance just detach a little bit from responsibilities and from everything that keeps me on the go, and to just allow myself to rest. So that in the first instance was extremely important. We came out of a very busy, stressful time, very hard, difficult year, and it was sort of the first time that I could really quiet down and really go deeper. So for me, it was extremely necessary to go, and I think it came at the right time. I was ready to rest, which doesn't happen often, and it was absolutely possible to do that. It was a beautiful. I was at the Idwala retreat of Herman and Heidi Kushka between Belfast and Dilstroom. Lovely weather, lovely facilities, quiet. So it was really possible for me to just wind down. So and I think you don't go on retreat and come back from there unchanged. It does touch you in some way. You even if you don't have real expectations, even just to be able to do that, and to be aware, I think that's the main thing, is that you are so much more aware of everything around you because you have the time. And it's quiet. You don't have to do niceties. You don't have to carry on conversations with everyone or anyone. You can just be. And that for me is a luxury. It's not daunting for me.
And being a 1 on the Enneagram and being very responsible, working with to-do lists and so on, having this opportunity to focus on a retreat, that helps you.
Yeah. Well, it was, in a sense, you had the structure of the retreat centers program in terms of the set quiet times, their prayer times.
Yes.
That I slotted into for the most. And then I had my own sessions, my own centering prayer sessions, 2 a day. And then, of course, my sessions with my spiritual director. So I had conversations with her, daily conversations.
Zoom sessions.
And it was important for me to have that continuity with somebody that I've been having spiritual direction from for a while now. And that was also, I think, very important, because I think when you come from a very busy time and you dropped into the silence and into all this time and space, you tend to feel a little bit lost.
Because it's a very abrupt changeover.
Yeah.
Because we came out of a very busy week and then you went to the retreat.
Yeah, so it was just, from 1,000 to 0. It was just coming down. And to then have the sessions with the director who also knows you and know your trajectory that you've been on, and to go into the retreat with some of those elements, and to see what opens up, because you have the time now. And that was precious to me.
And we've touched on this in the previous conversations as well, but just resting can be an important element of such a retreat.
Yeah, and the allowing yourself, the taking care of yourself in terms of that. I think I was very much aware of the way that I really don't care for myself well, in terms of rest, in terms of taking better care of my physical wellness, to overdo things, to constantly be pushing. I can get so focused on the outcome, on where I'm headed, that everything else, even my own body, my own well-being sort of falls by the side. So it was really wonderful to just give myself that space.
And you briefly mentioned it, but I just want to come back to an issue. One often has the expectation, or let me approach it from a different way. Growing up in a traditional Reformed tradition, when you go away on to such a place where it's away from home and so on, with your faith community, usually it took the form of a camp.
Yeah.
And you had sessions and input and so on. So you received something.
Yeah.
But with a retreat, it's different. It is this open space, and two things. The one thing is, often people say, you know what, if you enter, or if you have such a space of silence, all strange things can flow in and have an influence on you. That on the one side. And then the second thing that I want you to comment on is, you say you come out of such a retreat changed, but it's not necessarily major messages or epiphanies or anything that you've received. So it's two things that you can briefly...
Yeah. I think in terms of the fear of allowing your brain to be, I don't know, infested with everything bad, I actually feel that if I become quiet, I can hear and sense God better. And you go into such a retreat with an intention to do that. So that is my intention. That is what I'm listening for. That is what I'm looking for, sensing. And to be quiet, to have the time, allows me to be sharper in my picking up of the dialect that I have with God. And for me personally, that has a lot to do with nature.
And it's a whole body conversation.
Yeah, and we had these lovely thunderstorms and a bit of rain, and it was lovely. And so that on the one hand, the other thing was...
Is this major message?
It's not so much that I come back a different person, but I come back with a new resolve in terms of the things that are out of balance. The way that I do not want to continue, that I find the worth there of my meditations, my centering prayer sessions, my spiritual direction, my taking time out. And I need that. I need that like I need food. So, and it's just like a reset of priorities. And then, of course, there is these wonderful things, these lovely metaphors and things that God sort of opens up. For me, my room, the whole center is sort of built right up against a koppie, a rather high, very stony mountain.
Outcrop.
And it's cut into it. So the room that I was in there's a cutting into the wall of the mountain. So at eye level, if I stood in my room, I was looking on ground level. So it was this undercut, so a piece of the underground that you could see, the levels and the types of ground, and then right at eye level, on ground level.
It's a surface of...
Yeah, so if I wanted to see what I was seeing from my room on ground level, if I went outside and went to that area, I would have to lie on my stomach to see the little mice, little holes where they live and whatever is living there, and the lizard on the ground. So it was such a metaphor for looking at my life. What's underneath the surface? What's on the surface? What's growing from the underground? What is separate from that? So that was a lovely metaphor just to sit and look at. And if I was maybe there on holiday, I might not have because I wouldn't have been taking the time to see what I'm seeing.
That's it. Yes.
So I think it changes you in that your awareness is peaked. It's like you are
very susceptible.
Very susceptible.
Yeah. And then you can understand how this is such an ancient, centuries old tradition within the Christian tradition of stepping aside and going deeper.
And I think also from Jesus's example, from going out, going apart from people, talking to God, listening. And I think that is something that luckily, happily, is starting to win ground again.
Yes.
There was a long time that was quite foreign, especially to us Reformed. We didn't grow up that way. And it can only be recommended.
I'm very glad that you went. One can see that you came back more rested. But it's also good to have you back.
It's lovely to be back.
Thank you, everybody. We'll talk again next week.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.